Kesme 107.1 FM and across the world at 3news.com. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. New Patriotic Party running mate Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh sparks outrage and public disaffection after suggesting that not even Ghana's first president, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, has achieved anything closer to what President Akufo-Addo has done. Also coming up on the program, with exactly 150 days to the December 7, 2024 presidential and parliamentary elections, NDC flag bearer John Mahama is urging Ghanaians to vote for him at the NDC to build Ghana. And much later on the program, Volta River Authority starts community sensitization drive ahead of a possible spillage of excess water from the Akosombo Dam in the coming days. Thank you very much for joining us today. It's a week now since, let's start off from here, and it's a week now since the Civil and Local Government Staff Service Staff Association of Ghana, CLOGSAG, embarked on a strike. This afternoon, CLOGSAG is meeting with the National Labour Commission, NLC. Last week, the leadership of the Civil and Local Government Staff Association of Ghana, CLOGSAG, failed to appear before the National Labour Commission following a strike on implementation of new salary structure. The Labour Commission directed CLOGSAG to call off its strike without any further delay. The strike, according to CLOGSAG, is over the non-implementation of the new salary structure by the government, which was agreed on by both parties on August 31, 2022. And our Labour Affairs correspondent, Daniel Opoku, will be joining us very shortly. He's monitoring the meeting for us, and he'll be bringing us updates as regards what's happening on the meeting grounds. Ahead of that, a cross-section of Ghanaians and social media users have expressed discontent as they react to comment by the Energy Minister and now running mate to the NPP's flag bearer, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh, during his official unveiling in Kumasi. Now, at the rally grounds on Tuesday, that's just yesterday, July 9, shortly after he was unveiled, Dr. Opoku Prempeh, while addressing party supporters, touted the NPP's achievement as the best ever under any government Ghana has ever had. While touting the achievement of the Akufo-Addo Bawumia government, he stated that no president, including Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, has developed Ghana better than President Akufo-Addo. Take a listen to what he said.
Yeah, 75%. 85%.
The NPP will do a door-to-door campaign ahead of the general elections. We want 85% in the Ashanti region. Anna President Akufo-Addo and Bawumia.
Ghana, Ghana, President Akufo-Addo call retirement. But to be Mr. Kesri, who said, a freestyle Ghana from 1957. You're President Biawa Ghana, China, and Ado Akufo-Addo. Messi a freeze 1957. Back on there, more from Kwame Nkrumah, more from Obia, the Wabadi.
You heard running mate to the Vice President, the flag bearer of the NPP, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh, at his unveiling in Kumasi yesterday. Well, this will not be the first time the NPP is making such statements about the achievement of the former First President, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, and the former President, John Mahama, in the last 2 weeks during his encounter with residents in Ashaiman, condemned it. Take a listen.
Na niaka ni propaganda. Ebo ayeshe nyina yediso. We are the best government since independence. Nkrumah Mpoma say sa abainfu we mo de mo ho to Nkrumah. Nkrumah was a visionary. And Nebesine would they could doom Akosombo say Benya light or my moha. Meanwhile, 1965 and Nkrumah Biesa Akosombo Dam. Ebesine, it is the bulwark of our power supply in this country. And now would they see motorway no. Nasha say obi beti mi ako baby or Ghana ha. Tama habo Nkrumah nesi. And then Kataman habo niwa. Could we have imported items into this country? Kotoka Airport Nkrumah Nesi. You dare not compare yourself to Nkrumah. Don't try. Ezu, mo pese mo ye comparison na. Mo de mama fan ko Nkrumah so. Mahama o heya. Enfan ko Rollins so, enfan ko Kufuor so. Ata Mills enfan ko ne so. Mahama o heya. Me ye 4 years. Most my 4 years. Yes, mo better say. Mo track record ni. Yes, you ye ni. Me enfan ye comparison. And also most mo ma.
And you heard the former President John Mahama condemning that comment from the MPP, comparing its achievement to that of the country's first president, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. Let's engage Dr. Bernard Tutubuahin. He's a political marketing and communications strategist. Good afternoon to you, Doc. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good afternoon.
Thank you for joining us. Let me first get your initial reaction to the comment by the MPP's vice presidential candidate, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh, during his outdooring yesterday.
So good afternoon again to viewers and listeners. I think that basically that is political season, and people, i.e. politicians, will be expressing their own opinions, views and sentiments about issues. It is not far from faith, for Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh to have said what he said. But my issue has to do with, the level of comparison, which I feel that these are things that are related to, physical achievements and all that. So when it comes to Dr. Nkrumah and what he actually achieved for this country in terms of infrastructure, in terms of education and all that, I think that he probably would be. But then, that notwithstanding, politicians may want to, as it were, let the public know that yes, they equally might have achieved something, substantial, with their promises and all that. But I feel that moving on as a country, listening to what the former president said earlier on, I feel that this country demands more than propaganda in terms of political communication. Learning from best practices, you could see that elections outside this country, i.e. the US and the UK, Holland, France, when you compare some of these communications, it is not as if, people are making false claims, about their achievements and all that. Whatever someone is saying, it becomes quite difficult for the other party, the opposing party, to probably object to those claims. But in our country, it appears that, politicians seems to be making wild claims, which, people have their own doubts and all that. I show that, yes, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh had that opportunity, to energize his constituents, his base, or the base of the party. But some of these comparisons, I feel that sometimes it should be thought through, and, you do a lot of, research before you come out with whatever claim that you want to put out there.
So you're saying he was ignorant because you're bringing in research here. He was ignorant of the facts. Is that what you're saying?
It may not be ignorance, but I feel that it was overstated.
Having said that, this is somebody that the Asantehene Otumfuo said to himself. It's just telling him on that same day that you have a tag on you that you're arrogant. I want you to prove critics wrong. And then he goes on stage to say this. How damaging do you think this is, in addition to that perception around him already and for the MPP?
In the first place, you see, the context within which Asantehene was advising seems quite different from, the one that where he made that claim and what the context within which he was putting out his statement. You see, for Asantehene, yes, he is the overlord of the Asante Kingdom, and Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh seems to be his son, as he actually, that's something he himself indicated. And there is no denying fact that, yes, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh is a royal from the Manhyia Palace. Now, he spoke to him as a son and telling him that, I raised you, I brought you up, and people are making claims which, of course, has to do with your personality in terms of people saying that you are arrogant, proud, and all that. But that is not what I raised you to be, and that is not what I see in you growing up. So you need to go out there and prove critics wrong. Now, the statement that he did doesn't suggest to me that he was expressing some kind of arrogance, or he was actually not taking, the advice given to him by his father, Otufuo Osei-Tutu II, into consideration. I feel that even though that statement, the phrase, "you're Nkrumah," and probably comparing the achievements of the current administration to that of Dr. Nkrumah was quite, unfortunate. I feel that we can also not bring into the fact that he didn't also, understand, or he's not paying heed, to the advice of Otufuo Osei-Tutu II. I believe that Otufuo had actually given him 4 key, pointers that he has to consider going forward if he has to be successful, as vice president. And which is, let me put in this, that looking at what Dr. Bawumia has achieved, with regards to his position as vice president, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh, if elected, if the NPP is the candidate is elected into power and Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh becomes a vice president, he cannot afford to go, below what Dr. Bawumia has achieved.
So let me ask you, forgive me, let me ask you.
For that, I feel that he has a difficult task on his shoulders than probably he can ever think of. And that is the reason why Otufuo told him specifically that go out there and make sure that you succeed.
Let me ask you the second part of the question, which is whether this is damaging to the NPP and what the party can do about it, for us to wrap up our conversation.
Sorry, come again.
I was asking the second, you didn't answer the second part of my question, which is whether this comment is damaging to the party. And then I'm asking a new one, which is what the party can do about it, 2 in 1.
Okay, I don't really feel that it is quite damaging, to the party, because at that point in time, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh was, appealing, or he was actually communicating with the base, which is the intended audience for that particular, event. The unintended audience are those of us who are worried about, that particular content. But I feel that going forward, specifically, they probably may want to have, a political communication manager for him. Someone who would actually manage his communications and probably be able to tell him that going to this event, these are the scripts you must follow.
We'll have to end it here. Thank you very much, Dr. Bernard Tutupuahin. He's a political marketing and communications strategist. Thank you for sharing your expertise with us. So what do you think? We spoke to some people on the streets of Accra.
Nkrumah has done enough, and for him to say that on the platform, he even said that it's not even good. And I believe that if maybe Nkrumah wasn't dead, maybe he would have done more than how the current president is even doing now for our country. It's actually the wrong thing he had to do.
It's somebody who doesn't listen to anybody's opinion. They think they are better off than everybody. Me, I don't really call it arrogant. I call it disrespect to Ghanaians, because it's like they don't respect us. We give them the job to serve us. A king is a leader who serves his country or his town, but not as a tyrant.
But what he said, to me, I feel it's a bit rude, because being his first time speaking to the public after he being called out to be the running mate, I think he could have said something better than this. And I feel with what he has said, with the first impression he has given Ghanaians, is going to give Ghanaians some doubts. Already, when it was first proposed, we heard some rumors that the MPP was going to choose him as their running mate. People had that. People were giving their opinions, and the opinions I heard were very negative. So I think he should come again.
I think he's arrogant. How can you compare Nanado, MPP government, to Kwame Nkrumah? It doesn't make sense at all, at all. You guys can be in your corner and make that statement. Whatever you guys think you are, but you mess up our country. You guys mess up our country. We couldn't do anything. Nothing is going on. Everything has messed up.
Some Ghanaians, they're expressing their views on the comment by the running mate to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh, during his unveiling yesterday. Now, as the December 7 general election, Birkins, an associate professor in the Department of Statistics and Actuarial Science at the University of Ghana, Professor Ezekiel Norte, is predicting that the opposition National Democratic Congress would win majority of seats in Parliament with 146 votes against the NPP's 129. Professor Norte's analysis attributes this predicted outcome to several factors, including the performance of current members of Parliament and the increasing number of swing constituencies in the country. Noble Crosby Annan is monitoring this event for us. He joins us live on the line. Crosby, tell us more about the basics for predicting that we'll be heading for a runoff, which is something that also came up. Hi, hello, Crosby.
You know, Beatrice, if you can hear me, you know, as the elections are approaching, you see and hear a lot of posters who are collecting live data, interacting with audiences, all in relation to the elections. That's primary data. Now, there's also the bit about secondary data, and that is you taking already existing data and then going through all the rigorous processes you have to go through in terms of statistics to aggregate the data, analyze, and then interpret the data. So that is what Professor has done today. And in his analysis or in his investigations of previous data coming on the back of the 2016 and the 2020 elections, now that is the data he used to arrive at these conclusions. What he's saying is that the NDC gained more of the net swing effect in 10 regions, while the MPP gained in 6 regions. So that is something he's predicting we're likely to see in the 2024 general elections based on data interacted with from 2016 and 2020. He's also saying that the NDC gained more in Ashanti, in the western and eastern regions, which attacked the strongholds of the ruling NPP. So trying to say that the NDC will appreciate in these regions. Also, the NPP will also appreciate in the Volta Oti northern, western north regions, which are perceived as strongholds of the NDC. Now, with parliamentary elections, this is what he's saying, that the NDC is likely to win 146 seats and more likely to win the presidential elections. Mind you, Beatrice, these results are based on past data on both presidential and parliamentary elections only. And it is based on the assumption that voters will behave in the same way they did in the previous elections that we're talking about. So that is what Professor Norte is predicting here at the Statistical Department of the University of Ghana, Beatrice.
Quite interesting. Thank you very much, Noble Crosby Annan, for bringing us details of that survey. Now, the Volta River Authority has started its sensitization drive ahead of a possible spillage of excess water from the Akosombo Dam. Fear has gripped residents of Mepa in the North Tongue district of that region after the VRA's announcement due to rising water levels. It is 10 months since the Volta River Authority spilled water from the Akosombo Dam, resulting in the humanitarian crisis. Approximately 39,000 people were displaced. Meanwhile, Minister of State designate at the Energy Ministry, Herbert Crapper, has assured that Parliament that the Volta River Authority is undertaking comprehensive measures to ensure the next spillage of the dam does not cause another havoc. He says that lessons have been learned from the extensive damage caused by last year's spillage.
That's the plan. VRA is going ahead with the stakeholder consultations and the sensitizations, and the ministry and central government will work closely with them to ensure that the program that they have put in place to mitigate the impact of the spill and also ensure the integrity of the dam will be executed according to plan.
Energy Minister designates the Minister of State designates at the Energy Ministry, Herbert Krapah, speaking earlier. Joseph Armstrong is following this for us. He also joins us live on the line. Armstrong, what more can you tell us? Armstrong, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear.
Excellent. What more can you tell us from this engagement?
Yeah, so Beatrice, early this year, the VRA served notice that they are going to spill some more water from the Akosombo Dam. They did not give a date, but today the people of Mepe, including the chiefs, were there when the delegation from the VRA and NADMO, that is Seji Saji leading NADMO, and then also we have Benata leading the VRA team coming to engage with the chiefs and people of Mepe. Telling them that this time around the spillage is not going to be as severe as it was some 10 months ago. They said that, well, even though some homes will be affected, it's not going to be too much. But those who are living very close to the dam, they will be affected, but it will not extend to other parts of the communities. And this is supposed to be a 10-day engagement. So from North Tongue, they're expected to go to Central Tongue. They are supposed to go to South Tongue and the drop-on areas to let them know how the spillage is going to take place. They're saying that even though they don't know when exactly they're going to spill, it could be today, it could be tomorrow, because it's likely Burkina Faso could also open their dam, and that means that the moment they open their dam, they would also have to start spilling from the Akosombo Dam just to protect the Akosombo Dam. Beatrice.
Thank you very much, Joseph Armstrong, reporting live from Mepa in the North Tongue district of the Water region. Now, the strike by the Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana, CTAG, is nearing the 21 days limit by which the schools are expected to be closed down. You will recall that CTAG embarked on a strike on Friday, June 14, over what members say is a failure of the government to implement the National Labour Commission, NLC's arbitral award orders and negotiated service conditions. Students have been left stranded in all the 46 colleges of education across the country. Members say that they will not back down until the government implements the renegotiated conditions of service. Safwa Buahine has been to the Accra Colleges of Education. She joins us live on the line. Safwa, tell us what you can see.
Hi, Beatrice. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Please go ahead.
Yes, right. So, like you rightly said, I am at the Accra College of Education, and so far the only thing that is making the place bustling enough are the BUC students who are here to write the exams. But apart from that, I have just a handful of college students who are here, some studying at the library, some at the compound, and I happen to speak to just a few of them, and they say most of their colleagues have left the house and they are battling a lot of things like feeding, like their pocket monies are almost finished because no learning or teaching is going on in the school. They've not seen teachers since they reopened to school on the 15th of last month, and so they are hoping that the teachers will come back and then teaching and learning can go on effectively.
Thank you very much. Safwa Buahine reporting live from the Accra Colleges of Education. We're joined by Swale Razak. He's the National President of the Teacher Trainees Association of Ghana. Good afternoon to you, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Good afternoon to you and good afternoon to your lovely listeners.
Since we last spoke, have you engaged your tutors and just wondering what they've been telling you?
Yes, ever since we have been in conversation, we've spoken with some membership of CTAG and then also the leadership of CTAG. What they keep saying is that unless, of course, their concerns or demands have been met fully by the government, they will not be calling the strike off. But they are determined and saying that unless the government meets their demands fully, they will not be calling the strike off. And that is what they've been saying, even though the effects have been rampant and then very, very disturbing on us as students.
The concern is that after 21 days, the schools may have to shut down. Is that something you're worried about?
Yes, it's equally something we are worried about, but as you are all aware, it's not stated. With the colleges, we don't know whether if the strike prolonged to the 21 days, the colleges will have to be shut down. That call lies in the minister's office, and we don't know if we are gradually nearing to that end. As we speak now, since the resuming of the colleges of education, this strike, we've met this strike in session, and then not even reading materials have been provided to teacher trainees to be going through while this strike is ongoing. So we really don't know our fate as to whether the academic calendar is going to be annulled or we are going to get an extension after September 7th this year. We really don't know what is happening.
We were to say, thank you very much, Swale Razak. He's the national president of the Teacher Trainees Association of Ghana. Let's return to Menchia South about the unveiling of Matthew Opoku Prempeh as the running mate to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, meaning that his Menchia South seat is vacant and 5 persons are battling for that seat. Vetting for the aspirant is ongoing to confirm those who are eligible to contest in the party's primaries slated for July 14. Ibrahim Abubakar joins us live from Menchia South. Ibrahim, what can you tell us about what's going on regarding these 5 people who are battling for the seat?
Well, Beatrice, a very charged atmosphere. You find the aspirants coming in with their supporters, cheering them up. And in fact, on Monday, 6 of them picked the nomination forms, but after the close of the yesterday, only 4 had submitted their forms. And these are Nana Uchefe Prempeh, who is the brother of Matthew Opoku Prempeh. We have Nana Kotikoka Jambibi, James Ousubuache, and Nana Bafo AJ, who is a legal professional. As I speak to you, out of the 4, 2 are done with their vetting, but they are hanging around. They are hoping that by 2 p.m., the entire process would have been over so that they will see which among them qualify to contest the primaries. So after 2 p.m., then the balloting will be done. Then the people who are doing the vetting, they are 3. That's the Ashanti Regional Chairman, Bernard Nchigo Sianko. Then we have the Elections Director for MPP, Evans Nemako. Then the first vice chair of the MPP, Smith. So they will come and disclose the people who have successfully gone through the process and also do the balloting. Because these aspirants have up to Saturday to do their campaigns. On Sunday, July 14, the primaries will be held to select the one who will represent Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh on the parliamentary ticket of the New Patriotic Party going into the December 7 election. But all of them have expressed hope that they will go through the vetting successfully and they will eventually win. You speak to all of them, everybody is confident that at the end of the day, he will be chosen to be the one to represent the MPP on the parliamentary ticket for the December 7 election.
The delegates probably will decide. But thank you very much, Ibrahim Abubakar, reporting live from Menchia South, the constituency of Matthew Opoku Prempeh. Let's bring you an update from that meeting of CLOCSAC and NLC. Labour Affairs correspondent Daniel Opoku is on the line with us. Daniel, briefly tell us what you've gathered so far.
Right, so good afternoon to you, Beatrice. The meeting once again has been scheduled to take place around 2 p.m. And those who are expected to be in the meeting will be the commissioners and also from the government we are expected to see the Minister of Employment, the Deputy Minister of Employment and Labour Relations, and the Chief Technical Advisor to the Minister of Employment and from the CLOCSAC side. So basically, these are those who are expected to be in the meeting. The strike today is exactly 8 days or 1 week that they declared the strike. So basically, when they appear before the commission, we are hoping to see another directive from the LNLC asking them to call off.
Thank you very much, Daniel Opoku, Labour Affairs correspondent. Now, Parliament has passed the National Service Bill, making it an authority instead of the scheme. Parliament on Tuesday was unanimous in giving the National Service autonomy. Executive Director of the National Service Scheme, Osei Benchi, said that with the approval by Parliament, the National Service will no longer be service of old. And that's how we end the nation on 3FM. My name is Beatrice Edu. Thank you very much for joining us today. Log on to 3news.com. Have a good afternoon.
Development Show Host of the Year 2016-2017.
And the winner is John Hughes. Check.
Hi, my name is Johnny Hughes, your community rights advocate, and I'm still on the quest to bring smiles into your communities with Community Connect on 3FM 92.7. Join me this and every Friday morning at 9 a.m. right here on 3FM, and together we will solve the problems bothering your communities.
I know your program is a program that always get a result. Myself, I'm a witness to that.
What can we do to help your community today in terms of education, health, sanitation, security, and all the issues in between from your community's perspective? Tune in to Community Connect every Friday morning at 9 a.m. as we get interactive live on radio and on Twitter at 3FM 927 and on Facebook at 3FM 92.7. Community Connect, helping solve your community problems.
Hello, good afternoon. It's time now for Business Daily. Coming up, Ghana's inflation slows to a 2-year low as June 2024 rate drops to 22.8% from 23.1% recorded in May. We'll hear from government statistician Professor Samuel Kobna Enim.
Rate of inflation for the month of June 2024 was 22.8%. This indicates that between June 2023 and June 2024, general price levels of goods and services went up by 22.8%.
Also, Africa Center for Energy Policy, ACEP, demands apology from government for breaching petroleum agreements involving ENI and Vitol to restore investor confidence in upstream sector. We'll hear from Executive Director Benjamin Boachi.
The Attorney General and the government would have apologized for what they have taken Ghana through in the past 6 years, which has really crushed investor appetite in Ghana.
Well, my name is Menu Afo. We have details of these stories and more coming up. Do stay. Now straight to our first story. Inflation for the month of June has declined marginally to 22.8%, the lowest it has been in the past 2 years. This represents a decline of 0.3 percentage points from that of the month of May, which was at 23.1%. According to the Ghana Statistical Service, food inflation increased to hit 24%, while non-food inflation decreased to 21.6%. Professor Samuel Kobna Enim is government statistician.
Rate of inflation for the month of June 2024 was 22.8%. This indicates that between June 2023 and June 2024, general price levels of goods and services went up by 22.8%. This signals a slowdown in a year-on-year inflation, as in May 2024 we recorded 23.1%, and we've seen a slowdown of 0.3 percentage points from 23.1% to 22.8% for the month of June 2024. On a month-on-month basis, with a price index of 226.4 relative to 220.0, month-on-month inflation for the month of June 2024 was 2.9%. Between May 2024 and June 2024, prices of goods and services went up by 2.9%. This also signals a 0.3 percentage slowdown in a month-on-month inflation, as we recorded 3.2 monthly inflation in the month of May 2024, slowing down by 0.3 percentage points to 2.9% for the month of June 2024. Across the 13 divisions, we identified 4 of the divisions that recorded rate of inflation higher than the overall national rate of inflation of 22.8%. This was led by alcoholic beverages, recording a rate of inflation of 32.3%, followed closely by restaurant and accommodation services, 30.7%, housing, water, electricity and gas and other fuels, 26.0%, and food and non-alcoholic beverages 24.0%. All these four divisions recorded rates of inflation higher than the overall rate of inflation of 22.8%.
Well, that was government statistician Professor Samuel Kobina in more business stories. In a bid to restore investor confidence in the upstream petroleum sector, the Africa Center for Energy Policy, ACEP, is pressing on government to apologize for the latest ruling by the International Arbitration Tribunal. Ghana suffered a setback in an international arbitration case concerning its attempts to unitize offshore oil fields, but avoided potentially significant damages after ruling in the matter of an arbitration under the 1976 arbitration rules of the United Nations Commission on International Trade Law. But speaking to 3 Business, Ben Boakye warned of a broader economic implication, including negative impact on investor confidence.
We're only hoping that it sends the signal to government and people with, the state power to behave right, so that people don't bring in their billions and arbitrary decisions. Some basic decisions of that nature can be escalated to the international courts when all you need is people to be fair and think broadly about the public interest and take the right decisions. So we are hoping that that signal will reach the international community, and the investor community will begin to appreciate that now there are proper standards for some of these decisions to be made. But it also behoves on the state to begin to think that, it may just be unitization, but there could be other ways that we will be misbehaving. And we need to take action to really signal the investor community that we will not be this arbitrary in our engagements with them. And that requires the government to appreciate that. And that's what we're hoping, that the Attorney General and the government would have apologized for what they have taken Ghana through in the past 6 years, which has really crushed investor appetite in Ghana.
That was the Executive Director of the Africa Center for Energy Policy, Benjamin Boakye. Now, for his part, energy strategist at Eureka Energy Solutions, Dr. Yusuf Suleimana, believes that the recent International Tribunal ruling in favor of ENI and Vitol will boost investment in Ghana's oil production, helping to reverse its declining production trend. Ghana's crude oil production declined by 6.78% in 2023, contributing to an average annual decline of 9.2% over the past 4 years, a situation Dr. Yusuf attributes to a lack of investment in the sector.
Investment hasn't been going, and I think there's a lot of loss of focus from the part of ENI. For almost a decade now, we haven't had any new fields coming to onto the stream, where we haven't seen that much of activity. So I'm seeing a win-win, because probably this will give ENI a bit of focus and an investment direction to push, to invest more into their fields. Yes, Tullow has done a little bit of job, and they were able to bring JSC, Jubilee South East field onto the scene. That helped to boost up our production portfolio. But if you look at that of ENI, we haven't seen anything happening. And I can say with certainty that it was because of this unitization tussle. So I believe that's a good one that can give them a little bit of focus to champion the direction that they want to go.
Energy strategist at Eureka Energy Solutions, Dr. Yusuf Suleimana there. Meanwhile, government has revealed it will review the oil field unitization case and decide on the next steps to take. The Minister of State designate for the Ministry of Energy, Herbert Krapa, emphasized that the ruling affirms Ghana's right to unitize oil blocks and straddle and do not need to be developed independently. Now, before we go, Deputy Energy Minister John Kobina Abam has emphasized government's commitment to promoting electric vehicle usage across the country. According to the minister, government is establishing the necessary infrastructure to support the widespread adoption of electric vehicles, including enhanced access to electricity and a network of charging stations across the country. The minister made these remarks at the 2024 Electric Mobility Conference in Accra, which brought together stakeholders from the electric vehicle sector across Africa.
With only 4 levels 2 charging stations available to the public, but all located in Accra, it is obvious that these have to be scaled up and spread wider to make it meaningful for long-distance travelers, whilst cost barriers remain a reality for many motorists who would otherwise have chosen to go down the EV route. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the reality of energy transition in global conversation on energy makes it imperative for all stakeholders in the energy space to continuously engage in driving initiative, cutting-edge solutions in making e-mobility a reality. Electric vehicles represent the future in transportation, and the future is already here with us. We have no choice but to step up and be counted.
Well, you heard the voice of Deputy Energy Minister John Kobina Abam there. Well, that's it for Business Daily on 3FM 92.7. For more stories, kindly log on to our website on www.3news.com. My name is Minu Afo. Do stay tuned. Urban Blend is up next.